What would you like to do, sir?
Judge, from my conversation with Mr. Jenkins, excuse me, with Mr.
Tell him I got with the initiative person on
with
warrant.
Mr. Batten, he does not wish to resolve his case at this time.
All right,
No,
thank you
you
very
ain't even
much.
talk. Hey, student, Your Honor, she just jumped the charge. I just told her to tell you I got with a person on initiative.
Madam Public Defender, you can't turn off the microphone if he wants to speak, ma'am.
I understand that. I just
Okay.
wanted to protect him.
All you can do
He
is
does not wish to
is warn him, but you cannot turn off the microphone if he wants to speak.
It's on your best interest.
All right.
I already done
Everything's being
turned this
recorded.
information
Sir, you're only
in.
two choices. You either resolve the case or you proceed to bond out and contest the charge. What would you like to do, sir? We're not going to
Hey,
get
look, when my next court date is,
October 29th in 3 days.
I go in front of Judge Murphy.
Judge, no, you'll be going before. Actually, it'll be before who's here. This is a satellite case. It's a Hollywood case.
Judge,
know
we
who's
asked that the
talking
case
that
be
trash.
transferred to Central.
It's already
The
set for
satellite?
Central. It's already set for
Okay,
Central.
thank you. Thank
Robert
you, Judge.
Jenkins.
He's approaching.
Do that right there. Gotcha.
No. Mark, try to scratch it out.
Judge, what was that?
I swear he was right.
2025.
He might have been on those blocks. Block out.
Mr. Jenkins, you're being held on a warrant for failing to appear on a charge of operating with a suspended license. So based on my review of your record, the court is not able to give you an offer to resolve this case because of the potential charges being in the future changed to a felony. Accordingly, your bond is $500. You're set to do for status before a signed judge October 29th at 1:30, sir. Jason Prada.
Main jail.
Yeah, I know.
Mr. Prada, you're being held on a warrant for failing to appear on a charge of operating without a valid license. Sir, your bond is $250. Your next court date is October 29th at 1:30, sir.
Judge, Mr. Potter says that he wishes to resolve his case if the court would entertain that.
I cannot, it's a potential felony issue here, so unfortunately I cannot. Anthony Fuenmayor.
He's approaching main jail, Judge.
Sir, you're being held on a charge of trespass. The court finds probable cause to detain you, sir. The court notes your 6 prior charges similar. Accordingly, if you want to resolve this today in exchange for a plea of no contest, the court will adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 4 days, or you can come back and test the charge by posting bond of $25. What would you like to do, sir?
Judge, he's inquiring as to if he were to resolve his case, if the court would, whether he'd be released today.
I can't
Would it be a
promise
time
you
served
that.
sentence? You can't promise
It
that.
was only picked up yesterday, so he would have 2 more days.
2 more days. Just 2 more days.
No, I can bond myself
Judge,
out.
he wishes to bond himself out with the amount that's currently set. He's
Okay.
19 years old,
Go ahead. That's not a problem.
and
I didn't increase the bond. Marlon Gordon.
main jail, he's approaching.
Mr. Gordon, you're being held on a charge of possession of cannabis. The court finds probable cause to detain you. Your bond is $100. You're also being held on a warrant for failing to appear on a charge of driving while license suspended. The bond is $500, so your total bond is $600. We don't know when his next. Oh, because it's a new charge. You don't give me that. Brian Trella.
No, sorry, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Trella, you're being held on a charge of criminal mischief. And also, the court finds probable cause, notes 19 priors. The court, because of the criminal mischief charge, cannot give an offer to resolve the case. Bond is $100.
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to resolve. I'd like to resolve this case.
Sir, I can't give you an offer because of the allegation of damage. I'm sorry.
I'll pay restitution.
Thank you, sir. Vernon Adams.
Can we medically reset him, Your Honor?
Well, it was reset yesterday too, so. It's okay. It's already done. Thank you very much. Lamont Jackson.
Conti, Your Honor.
Mr. Jackson, you're being held on this is an additional hold on you for a warrant for violating probation. You're on a no bond hold pending your appearance before Judge Porth. You're due to see Judge Porth October 29th at 8:30 in the morning, sir.
Your Honor, I've already been sentenced for this. I was sentenced for a 30-day SAT program. I finished the SAT program. I have my papers here now. It's upon the completely of the program that all probation is terminated, and I have all my paperwork here in front of me. I finished yesterday. I was supposed to be released yesterday.
Only
This
Judge,
charge right here.
only Judge Porth can sign that order because he's the one that signed the warrant, sir.
But I never was appearing in
What?
front of Judge Port. I was in front, and my judge was.
One moment,
Jackson,
Mr.
Can
Jackson.
you be quiet just a second, sir, okay?
Yes, sir. I don't have Judge Port.
What happened was when they were in 29 to release him, the warrant that he went to court on for that same day came up. He was sentenced, and I have the disposition right here.
They
the
didn't-
Same day the court order, but
They
when
didn't-
they went in 29.
They didn't dismiss the warrant,
The warrant came up for the same.
but on the dispo, they didn't dismiss the warrant? How did it go before the judge? As a VOP?
Yes, but he came in on the weekend and no one was here. But when they tried to clear him and he got yesterday, the warrant came up and.
Okay, let me see the disposition. You gave me everything. I just wanted the dispo. I have the warrant. I have the warrant.
I have the two that are on.
All right, this was the original dispo from 9/10. Okay.
There was amended.
And what do you have from yesterday? You said that he. But the 9/10 thing is the date of the warrant.
The thing is, the warrant didn't show up in their system until the 29th. When they were in the 29th, it was still in the system. The warrant sent it over yesterday, the day he was supposed to release.
September 10. So the September. I want to mix all this paperwork up. All right, so on September 10, why would Judge Porth have reinstated, why would Judge Siegel have reinstated probation and the same day Judge Porth signed a violation of probation warrant? For August 29th. But I don't see how this resolves this warrant. That's what I'm.
Because
No, that's what I'm trying to show. I don't see anything on this that you gave me that shows that they subsequent to that date terminated probation. Correct.
modify all previous conditions probation. See?
You're going to have to address this with Judge Porth. I don't agree, because if his probation that day was reinstated, it wasn't terminated. It was reinstated.
Judge, it was will automatically
Let me see that page.
Judge, it was actually my case.
Okay.
In Judge Siegel's division. That's how his sentence was.
So the state has no objection?
According to his sentence, it was a reinstate, modify special conditions SAP upon completion of SAP, his probation was to be
Okay.
terminated.
Okay. So why won't the jail release him then? Well, then you have to do an order having me dismiss the warrant.
Just dismiss the one right on the PC, on the finding form. You can just dismiss it on the actual finding form.
Okay.
All right, Devin Bryant.
Conti, Your Honor.
All right. Unfortunately, they may have to wait because we're in the middle of the docket now. Mr. Bryant, you're being held on 3 additional charges: grand theft below $5,000, grand theft auto, and dealing in stolen property. The court finds it probable cause to detain you on these additional charges. Your bond on the grand theft is $1,000, grand theft auto $1,000, and dealing in stolen property $3,500 for a total of $5,500, sir. Felix Sierra.
Judge, he's approaching.
Mr. Sierra, you're
If I
being
may-
held on a warrant for armed burglary of a structure.
Yeah.
Is the state proceeding without bond? Is the state, did the state hear me?
Sorry.
In this case, is the state proceeding to seek no bond?
Yes,
Hold.
Judge. Yes, Judge.
The court, having reviewed the probable cause affidavit of Mr. Sierra, the court finds proof evident, presumption great. The matter is set before Judge Imperato, October 29th at 8:45. Even though the clerk wrote VOP on here,
Are
I
you
think that was a
here?
mistake.
Felix,
This is
Felix.
just,
Felix.
or is there actually a VOP on another case set?
Judge,
Yeah, on this case, it's not set as a VOP.
Eugene Telford?
It's a non-in-custody capias. So unless there's another charge he's being held on,
Give it to her.
I think it was just the clerk.
All right,
It's a different clerk that prepared this, right?
Yes, sir.
She went home at 6:30 a.m. I think I saw her as I was coming in.
Which one?
I think she was just on a roll of writing VOP on these cases when she saw a warrant. Okay. Well, Mr. Sierra, one way or the other, you're due to see Judge Imperato October 29th at 8:45, either on this case or on another case that the clerk thinks you have a VOP on. But I don't see that paperwork, so I don't think that's likely. Donald Cooper. Oh, it should be on status. It's a no bond hold.
Mr. Cooper's approaching, Judge.
Mr. Cooper, you're being held on a warrant for violating probation. You're on a no bond hold pending your appearance before Judge Bidwell, November 3rd at 8:30 in the morning, sir. Corey Williams. Mr. Williams, you're being held on a charge of obtaining property by fraud and grand theft. The court finds no probable cause to detain you, gives the state 48 hours to perfect. What says pretrial? Oh, have they already posted? Because I was going to reduce it. If they, they're in, okay.
I know he's spoken to some family members and they indicated that they're trying to come up with funds, but they don't have enough for the amount that it's currently set.
Right, I'm gonna set bond at 500 on each count for 1,000. I have nothing in this probable cause affidavit that indicates that he received any of these funds. I don't have anything to indicate that there was any, scheme, any type of fraudulent plan put in place. It's just a bunch of facts that are listed. Mr. Williams, if your family's able to post a $1,000 bond, you will be released. You may have to come back to court on these charges if the state decides to proceed. If you're not able to post the bond, and the state's not able to cure the problem with the paperwork in 48 hours, you'll be released, sir, on your own recognizance. Thank you, sir.
Okay, how much is the bond? $1,000?
1,000, sir.
So it's $100. Okay.
Tyler Howie.
Judge, Tyler Howie. Judge,
How are you being held on a charge of possession with intent to sell or deliver heroin? The court finds no probable cause. State, I see nothing in here to indicate that this is anything other than simple possession. Gives the state 48 hours to perfect. I don't know, Peter, if you looked this up or not.
Mark, print, date, and sign, drop the pen.
Yeah, I saw nothing locally. Okay. Court will set bond at $1,000. Mr. Howie, if the state's not able to fix the problem with the paperwork in 48 hours, and if you're not able to post the bond, you'll be released on your own recognizance, sir. Mario Gerard Romero.
You got attorney here on that.
Good morning, Your Honor. Rob Melchior here today on his behalf.
Good morning, counsel. He's being held on a new charge of driving while license suspended, and he's also being held for violation of probation out of Palm Beach.
That's one of the main reasons I'm here, Your Honor. He was actually terminated from probation on that case back on October 17th. I have a conformed copy of the order along with a clerk case dispo form.
It was an early term.
That is correct.
Could you bring it up, sir? Or,
You help this very good.
now,
Go to bed, you got to respect them. Got to respect them. You got to go to bed.
Yeah, good. On the phone. Hey, I watched the new series like with what I got.
Never.
And it's good. Let's see, you got to show them.
have you given a copy of this to? Do you have another copy of this, or is it just your own copy?
I have a photo copy.
Why don't you give us the photo?
Some of the old people, like, they got mics.
Judge, it's in out of Palm Beach.
Right. That's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the probation, the DOC stuff, and I'm looking at the order from Judge Crow.
And it,
Very black.
It just got updated because
Very
it
black.
The way it started.
Right. It's a, all right, the bond on count one is $100.
40 days. Hey, when you're done there, step to the side. When you're done.
All right, the court has noted here there's to be no hold on count three. See how that works out. I can't dismiss a Palm Beach warrant, but all I can do is just let them know that they shouldn't have. Let's do that. Okay. Good luck. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, Judge.
Raimundo Gutierrez.
He's approaching, Judge.
Sir.
You speak Spanish?
Sign there.
I speak English as well.
Speak English as well. Okay.
All right, Mr. Gutierrez, you're being held on a charge of DUI and failure to stop and remain in an accident involving injury and violating probation. The court finds probable cause to detain you. Sir, on the
Darren Black?
DUI, your charges or your bond is $1,000. On the failure to stop and remain is $2,500. However, you're being held without bond for Miami-Dade County on the violation of probation, sir.
Kyle.
Christopher Kyle.
He's approaching, Judge.
Mr. Kyle, you're being held on a charge of possession of cocaine with intent to sell, manufacture, or deliver. The court finds probable cause to detain you, sir. Your bond is $2,500. Marcus Cesar.
Lower?
Judge, Mr. Kyle would like to know if the court would consider reducing the bond amount or consider
I did
pretrial.
consider that this morning, and then I reviewed his record and changed my mind.
Oh,
All right,
thank you, Judge.
Mr. Caesar. You're being held on a charge of resisting an officer and violating probation. The court finds probable cause to detain you, sir. On the resisting charge, your bond is $100. However, you're being held without bond pending your appearance before Judge Porter on October 29th at 8:30 in the morning, sir. Fritznell Etienne.
He's approaching, Judge.
All right, Mr. Etienne, you're being held on 6 charges, all for failure to appear. Actually, these are not in custody capias. I'm sorry, these are not in custody capias except for the failure to appear on count 6. Driving while license suspended, the bond is set at $500. You're also being held on burglary of an unoccupied structure, grand theft under $5,000, criminal mischief over $1,000, illegal use of a credit card, and grand theft under $5,000. Your bond on those charges is $1,500, $1,000, $500, $1,000, and $1,000. If you're not able to bond out, you're set before Judge Singhal, October 29th at 8:30. And on the driving while license suspended, you're set before your assigned judge here at Central Courthouse, November the 3rd at 9 o'clock.
Judge, I do want to bring to the court's attention from my interview of Mr. Etienne. He said that he was currently in custody in federal jail.
Okay, well, he'll be
Federal
seeing
prison.
Judge Singhal this week, so I think on Wednesday. Martez Cooper.
He's approaching.
Mr. Cooper, you're being held on a warrant for violating community control. You're on no bond hold pending appearance before Judge Usan on October 29th at 9 o'clock in the morning, sir. Eugene Telefor.
He's approaching.
Mr. Telefor, you're being held on a charge of robbery with a firearm. The court finds probable cause to detain you. Mr. Telefor, until further order of the court, you can have absolutely no contact with the alleged victim in this case. You're on a no bond hold pending your appearance before Judge Usan, who is your assigned judge, sir.
Judge, I understand that this is a PBL, and we wanted to know if the court has found that there's proof is evident and presumption is great, and if the court would be inclined to exercise his discretion. As Mr. Telefort has no priors, he's 24 years old, he's a high school graduate of Coconut Creek, he works 2 jobs to support his son, and from my interview with him, he says that what they had in their hand was not a gun, it was a toy weapon. In light of that, we'd ask the court to consider setting a bond amount.
The court does find proof evident presumption great based on the allegations by Officer Fabiano and Officer Lockett. The court declines to exercise its discretion to set a bond. Darren Black. Mr. Black, you're being held on a charge of home invasion without a weapon, possession of burglary tools, and also violating probation. The court finds probable cause to detain you. Until further order of the court, there's to be absolutely no contact with the alleged victim in this case. On count 2, possession of burglary tools, your bond is $1,000. However, on count 1 and count 3, home invasion and probation violation, you're on a no bond hold pending your appearance before Judge McCarthy. You're due to see Judge McCarthy October 29th at 8:30 in the morning, sir.
Judge, With regards to count one, it is our position that there is no PC and that proof is not evident, presumption is not great, as it appears from the information provided in the PC that he knows the victim. They were together at one point in time. It appears that the appropriate charge should be a burglary of a dwelling, unarmed, occupied, and not a home invasion. And as such, he would be entitled to a bond. We'd ask the court to consider that
All
in
right,
light of
the court does
whatever's in
find
the
proof
PC.
evident, presumption great. The court notes, Mr. Black, you're due to see you're not going anywhere anyway until October 29th at a minimum, so you can see Judge McCarthy that day to discuss that issue. Peter Horman. Mr. Horman, you're being held on a warrant for failing to appear on two alcohol violations. Your bond is $550 total. You're due to see your assigned judges. You have an October 30th date and an October 31st date. You have two separate cases. You're also being held on a warrant for failing to appear. Actually, I believe it's a bond surrender, and then based on a failure to appear. On a charge of robbery with a weapon. You're on a no bond hold pending your appearance before Judge Destry. Judge Destry has you appearing on October 29th at 8:30 in the morning, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Richard Post.
He's approaching, Judge.
Thank you. Mr. Post, you're being held on a charge of possession of cocaine. The court finds probable cause to detain you. The court notes your 5 prior related charges. As a result, your bond is $1,000, sir.
Judge, per my interview with Mr. Post, he says that he can't afford a bond. That the court would consider pretrial.
Pretrial will be denied. Juan Nunez Fuentes.
Judge, we need a Spanish interpreter.
Mr. Nunez, you're being held on two matters.
Está detenido por dos asuntos.
Driving under the influence.
Manejar bajo los efectos.
The court finds probable cause to detain you.
Yo veo que hay motivo fundado para que usted quede detenido.
Your bond is $500.
Fianza es $500.
You're also being held on a warrant.
Está detenido por una orden judicial de arresto.
Out of the state of Nevada.
Por el estado de Nevada.
For a stolen vehicle violation.
Por una violación de un vehículo robado.
The state of Nevada has set a bond.
El estado de Nevada ha fijado una fianza.
At $10,000.
Por $10,000.
If you're not able to post that bond.
Si usted no puede pagar esa fianza.
The state of Nevada has advised.
El estado de Nevada ha notificado.
That they're willing to transport you.
Que ellos están disponibles a transportarlo.
Thank you, sir.
Muchas gracias.
Edwin Kepley. Mr. Kepley?
Yes, sir.
He's approaching, Judge.
Mr. Kepley, you're being held on a charge of felony petty theft. The court does find probable cause to detain you, sir. Your bond is $750.
Judge, per my interview with Mr. Kepley, he's lived in South Florida for 7 years. He's on disability. He's on SSI. He's unemployed. He currently resides at the Broward Outreach Center. We'd ask the court to consider placing him on pretrial release custody to custody transfer to the Broward Outreach Center.
Request will be denied. Kenneth Veltri.
He's approaching, Judge.
Back row, y'all. Come on in the middle, please. Still in the middle right
Mr.
here.
Veltri, you're being held on a warrant for violating your probation. You're on a no bond hold pending your appearance before Judge Gold on October the 29th at 8:30 in the morning, sir. You'll be seeing Judge Gold on, I believe, Wednesday. Stephen Kasdorf. Mr. Kasdorf, you're being held on a warrant for violating your probation. You're on a no bond hold pending your appearance before Judge Shearer on October 29th at 8:45 in the morning, sir. Darius Williams. Mr. Williams, you're being held on a charge of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. The court does find probable cause to detain you. Sir, until further order of the court, you can have absolutely no contact with the alleged victim. The court notes your prior criminal record, including 9 priors. As a result, sir, your bond is $5,000.
Judge, I'm gonna ask for an increased bond.
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna ask for an increased bond based on the facts with, the weapon being a knife.
And
I
Judge,
understand, but
I'd
I've
ask that,
reviewed the entire probable cause affidavit, including how the officer concluded that the knife was or was not used, and the court does not believe a bond increase is warranted.
May I speak?
Judge,
Please?
I'd
Really-
ask the court to continue.
It's
If I
really
may
not
ask.
in your interest, sir, to speak. This is a really
I don't
serious.
mind.
Okay, don't speak.
I don't mind. I don't
Don't
mind.
speak.
I do not mind. I do not mind. Not mind. I can speak.
But what if
Judge-
I
do
do?
not mind.
Judge, if I can
I do not
add,
There's
mind.
nothing
if
I can do
add,
for you today other than that, sir.
Judge, from
Yes,
my
ma'am.
interview
Go
with Mr. Williams, Mr. Williams suffered from mental health issues, and I do not believe that he will be best served by remaining in custody. And as such, we'd ask the court to consider releasing him on pretrial release or with an ankle monitor or whatever conditions that the court deems necessary. From my interview with him, he says that he is a contractor, and at the time of the incident, he was actually working at the site where he was threatened by the other person, who's the alleged victim. He resides with his mother. And in light of his circumstances and his health issues, we'd ask the court to consider pretrial release.
How do these cases get before Judge Porth? Or are they automatic, or does the state make a decision to recommend it?
Yeah, the division judge will make that.
So it has to go to the assigned judge
That-
first.
Yeah.
That's how the process is going to have to work, unfortunately, in this case. Sean, no, because it's not a no bond hold. And there's no charge filed, so there won't be a no court date until there's an arraignment set. Sean Noble, I mean, the PD can always file a motion.
He's approaching.
I didn't look to see who the judge was, because if it's not a no bond hold, I don't look to see who the judge is. Mr. Noble, you're being held on a charge of possession of a stolen or forged license. The court finds probable cause. Your bond is $1,000. However, so you're also being held on warrants out of Polk County and Orange County. You're on a no bond hold out of Polk County, violating probation, and 2 warrants out of Orange County, failure to appear. So you're going to be on a no bond hold until you're transported on those charges. Joshua Hedges.
He's present, Judge.
Mr. Hedges, you're being held on a charge of petty theft and 5 counts of violating probation. The court finds probable cause to detain you. Bond on count 1's $100. Mr. Hedges is due to see Judge Porth on October 30th at 8:30 in the morning. Shannon McLeod.
He's here, Judge.
Mr. McLeod, you're being held on a charge of driving while license suspended. Actually, it's felony driving while license suspended. The court finds probable cause to detain you, sir. Your bond is $750. Anthony Choice.
He's approaching.
Mr. Choice, you're being held on a warrant for violating probation. You're on a no bond hold pending your appearance before Judge Usan on October 29th at 9 o'clock in the morning, sir. Darwayne Smith.
He's approaching, Judge.
Mr. Smith, you're being held on a warrant for violating probation. You're on a no bond hold pending your appearance before Judge Destry, October 29th at 8:30 in the morning, sir. Lakivas Walker.
North Broward.
Mr. Walker, you're being held on an alcohol violation, carrying a concealed firearm, resisting an officer, and tampering with evidence. The court finds probable cause to detain you. The court notes you have more than 10 prior charges already in the past. As a result, the court sets your bond count 1 $25, count 2 $1,000, count 3 $100, and count 4 $1,000. Your total bond, Mr. Walker, is $2,125. Not because of the more than 20 priors. Antonio Battle.
Approaching.
Mr. Battle, you're being held on a charge of possession of cocaine with intent to sell, manufacture, or deliver. The court finds probable cause to detain you, sir. Notes your prior record. Your bond is $2,500, sir. Zachary Perez. Say, this is one of the most confusing probable cause affidavits I've read in a long time. And I tried to make sense out of it. Mr. Perez, you're being held on a charge of DUI, 3 counts of DUI with damage to other persons or property, 1 count of failure to stop and remain in an accident involving non-serious injury, and 1 failure to stop and remain involving serious injury. I think what happened is that the officer or whoever typed the probable cause affidavit put in the wrong subsections on some of these charges, because if you compare what's listed in the wording of the offensives charge on the PC, it doesn't match necessarily what's in the clerks. So the court finds probable cause for counts 1, 2, and 6. The court finds no probable causes to 3, 4, and 5, giving the state 48 hours to perfect.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
That's my ball.
Yeah.
And let me take a look at his record.
So basically what you just said is what he did. You only have 1 damage to property and 1 failure for that 1 person.
Yeah.
Right.
Can you tell me that though?
So he just...
All right, so what I've looked at his record. He doesn't, for some reason, he seems to be prone to traffic crashes, but not a whole lot of charges. So they may not be his fault.
And
Count
Judge?
3, I'm going to ROR, and count 4, I'm going to ROR, and count 5, I'm going to ROR. So you folks don't have to perfect those. So his bond is going to be $5,000.
We thank the court for RORing him on count 3 to 5. From my interview with Mr. Perez, he's a full-time student, Judge, and he's studying nursing. He owns no property and he has no money in the bank. We'd ask the court to consider placing him on pre-trial release in the interim.
Did pre-trial, I know this, as I said, this paperwork is kind of a mess. Did you have a chance to even talk to him? Do you find non-local stuff? Okay. Mr. Perez, you can't post $5,000 bond, sir?
How much is that? It's 500. Then it's 500, right? I can post $500 bond, yes.
Okay. He says now he's able to.
Okay, because otherwise, if we go the route of pretrial, you're going to have all kinds of conditions that may set you up for failure. So if you can bond out, just do that, okay?
Judge, just for the record, the state's going to object to releasing him RLR and ask that we be allowed 48 hours to perfect it before him being
Well, I
released.
found probable cause on the serious injury, damage to property, and the DUI. He has no prior record, so the court will decline. All right, thank you, sir. Benjamin Desmarais. This is another one that was an interesting endeavor. Mr. Desmarais, you're being held on a charge of DUI, 3 counts of DUI with damage to property or persons of another, and a count of possession of morphine. The court finds probable causes to 1, 2, 3, and 6. No probable causes to count 4. I found nothing, I don't believe, local, and his driving record's okay. What says pretrial? Did you look at his record? He got an adjudication on leaving the scene? Okay.
And Judge, per my interview of Mr. Desmarais, he's currently unemployed on food stamps. He has no property. He has no money in the bank. He's lived in South Florida for 6 years. He's unable to bond. The court were to consider placing him on pretrial release in the interim.
I'm just checking to see. It looks like they went right for the urine sample rather than, I don't see anywhere in there about the him being asked to take the breath test?
He was asked to provide a urine sample,
Yeah, so they must have assumed
that it was drugs.
that it was drugs.
Right.
Yeah. And he did, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So he cooperated with the officer. Mr. Demaray, at this point, your bond's going to be $3,500. Can you post that, sir?
No, I can't because I can't get a hold of who I'm trying to
Do you understand
contact.
if I place you on pretrial release because of the allegations in your history, it's going to require a drug evaluation and clean urine drops until such time as your case is resolved. So if you're not able to bond out and I release you without bond at pretrial, you're going to have to be very careful, sir, because you may well be taken back into custody. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. Would you like to do that?
Would you like to be placed on pretrial?
Or do you want to try
Yes,
to
I
post?
guess.
Yes? Okay.
Yeah, but I wanted some time to
All
try.
right, so
I mean,
Peter,
if I
if you'll
can't,
go ahead and do
there's
that,
no way I
pretrial
can.
release with
Thank you,
conditions,
Judge.
drug evaluation, and the testing. Kevin arbitrating?
He bonded, Judge? Gerald?
He did? Good for
Yes,
him,
Judge.
because I found no PC on 2, 3, and 4 on this one. I had a lot of work this morning.
I was thinking the same, Judge.
This is,
Yeah.
but if he bonded, he bonded, so there, you guys don't have to worry about it. Mr. Gordine? Gerald Gordine?
He's approaching, Judge.
Mr. Gordine, you're being held in a charge of possession of MDMA. The court finds probable cause to detain you. Note you have more than 10 prior related charges. Your bond's going to remain at $1,000, sir. Terrence Williams.
He's approaching, Judge.
Mr. Williams, you're being held on a charge of possession of cocaine. The court finds probable cause to detain you. Your bond is $1,000, sir. Will France Toulousema.
Quickly reset him, Your Honor.
It's been reset several times. Well, that won't prevent him from going before Judge Hames on the 29th, correct? If that hits first? Madam Jail Staff? I just don't want him to miss his appointment with Judge Hames if... Okay, so he will still go even though he hasn't been able. Okay. Timothy Riley?
Judge, he's approaching. Judge, for my review of the PC, I don't think that there's probable cause for count 1, as there was no witness or any evidence of fingerprints found where of any entry into the home to take any items. All that was seen was that Mr. Riley had items in his hands that belonged to the victim, and so it's a theft and not a burglary.
I think there's sufficient circumstantial evidence to support the charge of burglary. So
And Judge,
the court finds probable cause.
He has a pending case in front of Judge Bidwell with the same offenses.
Same thing. Yeah, I thought I noticed more than 20 priors on him. All right, the court's going to set bond on $10,000 on count 1, subject to review by Judge Bidwell if he chooses to do so. At this time, the court is not going to move to revoke his bond on his other pending case. That'll be up to the state and Judge Bidwell.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, this was a recall on Everett Jean-Baptiste. Is that, are you Miss Alcindor?
Judge, what page is Mr. Jean-Baptiste?
I think all the way at the beginning. This was from the domestic docket.
Okay. Okay.
All right, Mr. Jean-Baptiste, you're being held on a charge of domestic battery. The court does find probable cause to detain you. Ms. Alcindor, the court is prepared at this time to enter an order requiring, until further order of the assigned judge in this case, which will be Judge Kathleen McHugh, that Mr. Jean-Baptiste have absolutely no contact with you of any kind until such time as she orders otherwise. Is that fine with you, ma'am?
How long is that? I mean,
Well, he's due to see, probably it'll be at least 30 days before the arraignment date, November 20th.
for contact?
Before, or you can always ask ahead of time. You can write the judge a letter and ask to be heard ahead of time if you want.
But will he still be in jail till?
No, I'm going to give him a bond today, but I'm just addressing the contact order at this time. That means if he's released, he will not be able to go back to the residence until Judge McHugh says it's okay. Do you understand that, ma'am? Even if you...
I'm able to write a letter to her?
I can hardly hear you. Why don't you take your hands out of your pocket? I know you're a little nervous, okay?
I said I'm able to write a letter, you said.
Yes. Do you think that a few days, a week of staying apart might do some good? Okay. So why don't you write her a letter tomorrow, drop it off. If the public defender will make sure you give her the case number for Mr. Everett. Do you have it? Mr. Jean-Baptiste? I have it. It's 14. Because you have to put this case number on your request. It's 14-15499 MM10A. It's Judge McHugh, and they'll give you her spelling of her name, and then she'll let you know. Okay, otherwise it'll be just before Thanksgiving before the matter will be resolved.
Okay.
All right, so let's go. I found, did you find any priors, Peter? For Mr. Jean-Baptiste?
Oh.
Judge, per my interview with Mr. Jean-Baptiste, he lived in South Florida for 37 years of his life. He's a UPS worker where he's worked there for 16 years. He supports their 2 children. He says the most he can afford in a bond is $1,000, and if the court would consider in the alternative of placing him on pretrial release.
Okay, let me find. All right. Mr. Jean-Baptiste, I'm going to set your bond at $1,000, but please make sure you understand that until such time as Judge McHugh says it's okay for you to go back home and talk to Michelle, you can't. If you have to find a friend or other family member to stay with, that's what you have to do, because otherwise you'll come back into custody. It's a new criminal charge, and you can be held on this charge without bond until your case is resolved, which will be months. Okay? All right. If you're wise, you will pay attention, because other people don't. And they're still sitting in the wing over there at the jail. All right, I believe the last one this morning is Ronell Casimir. Mr. Casimir?
Yes, Judge. Yes, Judge.
And Madam, a victim advocate, did we have anyone show up? You had asked me to reset this.
I appreciate that, Your Honor. She was unable to make arrangements to get here after all.
Mr. Casimir, you're being held on a charge of domestic battery. The court does find probable cause to detain you. Sir, until further order of the court, you can have absolutely no contact with Darlene Casimir. What says probation? I'm sorry, what says pretrial?
Aggravated assault felony was dropped.
All right, Mr. Casimir, the court's going to set your bond at $2,500. The same admonition I'm going to give you. You can have absolutely no contact with Darlene. If you have to find a place to stay until the case is resolved, sir, you better do that. Otherwise, you're going to be taken back into custody. Good luck to you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Judge. That's all.
Yeah, we did. He was in a